Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Maggie and I will be your guide through the Dreamliner 787 business case, groupF of the University of Sussex. This is a supply chain management presentation. Welcome aboard! On behalf of Captain and the entire crew, we would like to remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. At this time, your electronic devices must be set to airplane mode until an announcement is made upon arrival. Now, let's meet the team. Our crew members today are Abu Lemin, Denis Rivera, Luffy Ma, Paul Yu, and Sergei Brobyshev. Well, now that you know our team, make sure your seat belt is correctly fastened. However, I would like to direct your attention to the agenda that will be performed in the next few minutes. First, we will learn about Boeing history and which were the Dreamliner goals, and moreover, let's do not forget about the industry context and the competitive environment. Secondly, it's important to address which were the problems this company faced over the supply chain, such as the supply chain model itself, the suppliers, technology, labor and management implication. At the end, we will review the performed action plan and the conclusions. The captain informs me that we are third in priority for takeoff. We should depart in a few minutes. Meanwhile, let's have a look over the introductions part. Boeing is a top designer and manufacturer of airplanes, rotorcraft, rockets, and satellites. Its headquarters are based in Chicago, Illinois, in the USA. Has primary divisions such as Boeing Commercial Airplanes, Boeing Defense, Space and Security, Engineering Operations and Technology, Boeing Capital, and Boeing Shared Services Group. The nature of the operations in the commercial airplanes business unit is low volume, variability, visibility, and variation in demand. Regarding the operation performance of this business unit, dependability, speed, and flexibility were seriously damaged after the Dreamliner 787 release. Regarding the Dreamliner goals, Boeing decided to release a brand new airplane model using pull strategy, with high expectations over the media, and the aims of this model were to increase the passenger capacity. And this by using less fuel. But those physical improvements over the plane design were not the only ones. In fact, this plane was supposed to reduce the development time from 6 to 4 years, and final assembly time from 40 to only 3 days. Wow! Sounds amazing, right? With all of that, this plane will be able to have long-haul flights in a more profitable scenario. Regarding the industry context and the competitive scenario, the main competitor was the Airbus 380. But the strategy of this competitor was very different, as they decided to use the hub-to-spoke distribution paradigm, in which all traffic moves along spokes connected to a hub at the center. Airbus' strategy was also focused on competing for cargo volume, as well for the mid-class passenger market that were already increasing in a global context of sustainability concerns. Finally, one of the aims of this model was to improve quality standards and passenger experience, such as dynamic LED lighting, bigger windows, lower cabin altitude, and a smooth ride through the turbulence. Sounds very nice, right? But what could go wrong? Oh my God! Here we are! The supply chain issues. First, Boeing decided to develop and produce the Dreamliner using a non-conventional supply chain model to the aircraft manufacturing industry. Boeing's model was based on Toyota's supply chain, which enabled this company to develop new cars with shorter development cycle times, while outsourcing the majority of its vehicles manufacturing process to a group of partners and always considering a close follow-up over them. Unlike the development of the previous model, the 737, in which Boeing was the manufacturer of thousands of suppliers, the new supply chain model was based on a tiered structure that allowed around 50 Tier 1 strategic partners, called the Dreamliners, to pre-assemble the process. But the first problems arise when the engine and the electrical failures happened. Also, this model efficiency was depending on the synchronized just-in-time deliveries for all major sections from the tiers. But if the delivery of a section is delayed, then the aircraft will be delayed as well. It took more than 3 years to release the first plane. Regarding the second issue, talking about the supplier's capabilities to new rules and responsibilities, the supply chain risk was affected by the lack of visibility. Without accurate and on-time information, the project company was seriously compromised, and the suppliers were in jeopardy facing losses. Another important topic was the contract terms distinction from strategy and non-strategy partners, when the last one received the payment after the release of the first plane. Unfortunately, this lack of efficient integration caused Boeing extra expenses by sending its staff at the supplier's location and also by affording redesigning cost. Sure, it was a reality. Boeing realized that their suppliers did not have enough expertise, know-how, and financial capabilities to perform according to their expectations. Talking about improved technology, when the Dreamliner was released, it faced the fear by using new material such as the composite on a high percentage of the total manufacturing design. The potential issue was the porous nature of the composite, because the moisture collected in the altitude may cause delamination, but the engine interchangeability ensured that this plane could switch engines off and achieve the necessary level of process integration. On the other hand, ExoStar was a web-based tool created to improve and control the integration over the flow information, but without accurate information there, the value of this tool were seriously decreased. The last technology risk was the configuration of the computer network, as the flight control system and the entertainment one were managed by the same computer network. The fourth issue was the labor. The company outsourced around 70% of the development of this new plane. Then, Boeing staff started to worry about the continuity of their jobs, so they decided to go on a strike. And after 60 days, the company accepted to increase the salaries over the 50%, plus a confirmation that the outsourcing amount will be reduced. By developing this project, Boeing outsourced an unprecedented amount of their planes parts to its partners in Europe, Japan, and China, but also transferred them an unprecedented know-how. Before the 787, Boeing had retained almost total control of the airplane design and provided supplier precise engineering drawings for building the parts, that is what we call build-to-print, but an exception just only were the jet engines. The last risk were about the management. It's important to say that in the original leadership team of this program, they did not include the staff with enough supply chain risk expertise and with the ability to manage an unconventional supply chain implementation in this industry. Ha ha ha! Finally, Boeing were working on the adjustment, so let's have a look on it. There are T1 suppliers such as Boeing Aircraft, which did not have the capability to develop the different sections of the aircraft and by the end of 2009, Boeing decided to acquire two divisions of this company to get direct control over the T2 suppliers and to avoid the collapse. Regarding information exchange, Boeing also relied on the ExoStar tool to track the overall performance of the supply information flow. Talking about the technology, Boeing redesigned its fuselage by using additional materials to strengthen the wing structure and working on improvement in the interchangeability process engine. Finally, changes were done to the computer network to avoid security issues. On the liberal side, Boeing finally made concessions in the increasing salaries to the workers and stopped the outsourcing. The CEO and the project director were replaced during this process. Ladies and gentlemen, we have started our descent. Please turn off all your electronic devices until we are safely parked in the gate, and of course, check our conclusions. The supply chain risks that may arise over the design and implementation of a brand new supply chain model cannot be dismissed from top companies like Boeing. Implications such as the communication issues, technology failures, lack of control over the tier structure have to be considered major issues and can be managed by a multi-skilled team that may provide during the planning phase action plans and forecasts to mitigate those risks and embrace the upcoming challenges. A deeper analysis of the supplier's capabilities has to be done in order to ensure sustainability over the process in all functional units at the company. At the end of the day, the complexity of this supply chain structure and the combination with the uses of new technologies did not allow this company to deliver on time, affecting their selling level, financial incomes, reputation, and finally their image, when some planes had security issues over the first planes were released. According to the case study, Boeing should have kept a greater amount of the outline in-house and also proactively design strategies to mitigate the communication issues and also the technology ones over the supply chains with all parties involved. Furthermore, working on rules of quality certification and Federal Aviation Administration endorsement would bring more benefits to the company. What? We have just been cleared to land at the airport. On behalf of the entire crew, I would like to thank you for joining us in this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future.